So what does it mean about ethical issue in the data collection here? Have you ever heard about it before? Yeah. What is ethical issue or ethical consideration in research?
It's the problem about the specific literature. We cannot mention in the research about the specific one. It can be the good effect or bad effect on that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we can say something that we think about the morality or ethic. Yeah, what should we show or should not show? Yeah. Okay. Any other freedom for the participant to get involved in your study, right? Yeah, we can say like uh, the thing that really important for your data collection, really important for your way of writing. You can say like, yeah, you need to acknowledge, you need to provide credit to the other writer as well. You cannot copy their work to put in your writing without acknowledgement in here. Yeah, something there. Okay, anything else that you define something beside this one?
Yes, lecturer.
Yeah, okay. For you, I mean, I suppose that my
Lecturer, based on the, we can say ethical here. Related to ethical issue here, at first we just talk about a specific place. We should not mention the place that we do the research, right? But another one can be our questionnaires. I think that we should be careful with the questions as well, because some questions we can say it's not acceptable to use all those questions to apply when we go to collect the data. I mean, some information we we should not know. We can say the secret one. This is just my idea.
okay. Thank you. How about Mr. Mesa?
Excuse me, teacher. Teacher Misa is on the way. He is driving. Teacher. He could not talk.
Okay.
Send me the message at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so something there you can say. Yeah, about place. Sometimes we can mention, but sometimes yeah, to avoid bias, yeah, we better not mention. Yeah, but it just depends. Yeah, some publication they also need us to identify where is it exactly, right? It just depends. But it might be based on the topic or even the research question that we have set up, how sensitive it is in here. Yeah, if it really sensitive, also need to be careful. Yeah, so rather not mention the name, it might be safety, more safety than or safer than the way that we just mentioned the name. Yeah, if it's sensitive, we cannot say the truth. Yeah, somehow we can say like the truth might be effect on their organization, sectional operation there. Yeah, really affect on their business. Sometimes we can say. Yeah, so something. Okay, so let you go and see. You will see about that part in detail. So what are the things that we should do and we should not do in data collection in here. All right. Yeah. So here are the things that we are going to talk about the afternoon. We can say like the concept of ethics, stakeholder in research, ethical issue to consider concerning research participant, ethical issue to consider relating to the researcher. Yeah, what should the researcher do in here? Okay, and ethical issue regarding the sponsoring organization. Yeah, somehow we can say if your researcher gets sponsored from other organization, you also need to consider about that part. Yeah, what are the ethics should be applied, and ethical issue in collecting data from secondary sources. Yeah, like what you collect data from journal, textbook, or any secondary sources that you have read so far. Then like what I mentioned earlier, we can say like we need to provide some credit or acknowledgement to them, right? And so on. Yes, and then we will discuss. We may have some discuss later on. Okay. So here are the things that we are to discuss the afternoon. And it also important part for your research project as well, I can say, right? You need to identify what are the freedom, what are the things that you can do for the participant to participate in your study here, right? So let's just start with the concept of ethics. We can say like a code of conduct on how to conduct research appropriately. Yeah, we can say, yeah, like something that we may consider about what we should do and what we should not do in here. Yeah. Okay, it just differ between a discipline and profession in here. Yeah, we can say it just other part that just different from your discipline. It's just different from your profession or your job in here. We can say like to be more professional. So it just differ from that. So it should be focused on what are these principles of conduct, yeah, and how determine them, and in those judgments must they be considered appropriate. Yeah, this part that we keep finding down the path. Yeah, what are the rules? What are the principles of the conduct that we should do or should not do here? Yeah, and who determine them different? We can say some part that we need to find out. Okay, that just how it is differ from discipline and profession that we mentioned here. Okay, so those parts just some question, and you can see this part about concept of ethics, like a code of ethics addresses ethical practice to avoid. Yeah. So somehow that you can say it's just different from discipline and a profession. We can say the code of ethics just addresses ethical practice to avoid causing harm to individual. Yeah, make sure that your study will not harm to the individual or other participant that can involve in your study. For example, like you just interview the employee regarding to the company condition or the law or the legality that they have applied in the company, and after that staff report, and then you just mention staff co or staff A, staff B, for example, right? Just mention like this, like that. When you mention their real name, they are in risk of losing their job in here because employer may not happy with their answer in here. So as researcher, you need to hide their name in confidential or keep their identity in secret here, that to let them safe and sound from any harmful for their job security, for their job security, for their safety, yeah, and so on in here. So those things that we need to be careful. Yeah, we can say like breaching confidentiality. Yeah, just keep the thing in confidential. Yeah, not in show identity of them. You just report by using the code or even tip name. or the given name that you invent and then give the name to the participant. Okay. So just avoid from spreading the information, right, to the public, and avoid using information improperly. Yeah, like you just get the data and then you just use it for any way that really harmful to the humankind, or even something that against human, or something that might be spoil other benefit because of that research. Yeah. Okay, avoid introducing bias. You can see. Yeah, just avoid even gender, like a variety of variable of gender, age, yeah, and so on. Yes, even like what we discussed so far regarding to the name of the place should be included in that part or not. If you include it, if the research question is sensitive, it might be a factor to them here, right? You can see stakeholder in research. So ethical issue need to be considered for all stakeholders involved in a research study, just like a research participant or subject. Yeah, research participant, yeah, the one who just get involved to fill the questionnaire, the one who just get involved to respond to your interview question, or the one just get involved in the activity that you can observe. So those things are the research participant. And the researcher, right? Researcher, you yourself, also the stakeholder in that part. And the funding body. Funding body, we can say it can be a person, or it can be the organization that offer you or fund you, or give you a research grant for conducting your research. Yeah, the participant, researcher, and the organization or the individual that offer the fund for research in here. Yeah. So all of these things we call like stakeholder in research. Okay. Just three main category here. So this part we can say the ethical issue to consider concerning a research participant. Like what? Okay, so collecting information. Yes, the way that we collect the data, we need to make sure that you have access to the participant and ask them to fill in the questionnaire, the survey form. Make sure that you are not going to take it by yourself. I can say like not just respond it by yourself by shooting your manager or supervisor that, oh, I have collected data from all participants, but that data is just not give it to them for tick, but you just the one who just click take it by yourself and so on. So the part is just something wrong with that part as well. So make sure that the way that you collect data, it is real, it is true. Yeah, no cheating in here, right? Yes, seeking informed consent. Yeah, better how form informed consent here. What does it mean, informed consent? Have you ever heard about informed consent before?
For me, I never heard about this word, teacher.
Yeah. Such a date. Have you ever heard about informed consent?
Okay, lecturer. I'm here now. Actually, informed consent here, we just talk about the communication between us, the researcher, and we can say the place where we want to do the research. I mean, before we start our research, we need to have communication with that one. I mean, we give the information for somebody who is responsible for or in charge of that place in order to make sure that they are ready for us to do the research. Do not just go and then all those people there do not know that we are going to do the research there. They might feel so strange to see all of us.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, something that you inform to them. Yeah, inform to the people in the organization. It's really about manager or leader in the organization. You to inform them as well as inform the participant, yeah, regarding to the way they check you and collect the data there. All right. Yes. Or some researcher they also use the consent form or informed consent here. I just ask the participant to read it, and then they need to sign and agree that okay, they have read the consent form carefully. So the consent form normally including with the purpose of the study, yeah, and what other data will be used, okay, as the interview, as the observation, and so on. So how can the researcher use the data? Yes, so this part that we need to do, and providing incentive. Yeah, whether your study has any incentive to give them or not. Yes, some researcher as a interview, after completing the questionnaire, they normally have some small gift. It can be a book or it can be a pen or any souvenir that they think that it's just something that want to keep or give them as a souvenir, and yes, to return as the profound thanks to the participant who just spend their time, yeah, to get involved in the interview or filling the questionnaire there. Okay, so the other one, just seeking sensitive information. Yeah, yeah. Whether we can say like we need to check it carefully. Any sensitive information given there, we can say just some information need to be inform them carefully. You can say like, yeah, for example, like if you just conduct interview regarding to the performance or the thing that related to the school principal, yeah, regarding to their part about their authority, their leadership, the effectiveness of their leadership, and so on. So those questions seem like really sensitive for the participant as well. Yeah, because what they worried about if the information just leak or just spread out, and then their job security may not really secure for them. Even their safety and job security is not really safe there. So we need to be careful with that. We can say like so when writing in the report, need to consider about the way that we just hidden their identity there. All right. Yeah. The also need to consider about the possibility of causing harm to participants, like I mentioned earlier. You need to be careful, right? Be careful with that part. Yeah, it's really, we can say like you cannot interpret data by attach or even show the voice of the participant in your report there. We can see. Yeah, you need to paraphrase. You need to write down it by we can say like for interview. Normally we just transcribe it. By transcribe, you can say like whatever said in the record, need to transcribe it out, and then you need to quote out only the related point. Just in what you have transcribed is not cannot identify the identity of the participant there. But if you just use the voice and forward it for reporting, it might we can say like it will be able to identify who he or she is. If we can say like since they are in the same organization, they may recognize the voice, right? Yeah, so need to be careful with that. Yeah, so really important in here, just maintaining confidentiality. Yeah, even after you collected the data, so maintaining the confidentiality. We can say, not me, no, my research or my paper has been submitted for publication. So later on, you just raise up what Mr. A, Mr. B talk about the school principal to tell the other people there. You know what I mean? So this is make sure that it keep for confidential, and the word record will be deleted. All of the things that can identify the participant, it can be destroyed as a response. You can say. So need to be careful. Make sure that it is keep confidential in that part, right? Any question about this one before we move? We may stop here and discuss one by one if possible. Any question? Any problem with this one? Yes or no?
No problem, teacher.
Clear now, right? Mr. Jandet?
That's okay, lecturer.
That's okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will move to the next one. So here the ethical issue to consider relating to the researcher. Yeah. So researcher must be what? The one who is avoiding from being biased. Yeah, we can say like not mean because of the product belong to your company, and then you just try to protect it. Whatever say about the negative, you never raise it up and show in the report. Or yeah, because of the principal or the leader in the company is your friend. So whatever you collected from the participant, anything that negative, you are not going to say something. Or if you study about the quality of a school, for example, right? And yeah, because of the results show very negative, and you cannot interpret it, that's probably just also something about the ethical issue regarding to the researcher as well. So researcher must be the one which is not pro to negative or positive in here. Make sure that whatever appear in the result, just discuss, just demonstrate. So why it's just like that one, for example. Yeah, provision and deprivation of a treatment. Yeah, you can say you can consider about what are the treatment or the thing that can be solved with that part. Yeah, that really important. You can say like just keep considering about what are the possibilities that can solve the problem in that part. Then not because you are pro to this, and then you just keep saying, oh, okay, it's not problem and so on in here. So yeah, need to be fair, need to be part that you can propose the treatment or the solution of the particular problem. Okay, using inappropriate research methodology. Yeah, so need to be careful. Like I mentioned earlier, we can say like you need to consider about something that is we can say if just keep checking about the nature of your research topic as well as the research aim, objective, and research question, and then try to find out what are the nature of the research methodology that can be used there. Yeah, whether the nature of the research should be in research, qualitative research or quantitative research, or even much method here. Yeah, like the question from Mr. Chandet earlier, really good. We can say you keep wondering, well, how can we collect the data in here? Yes, the good question that you better come up in your brain whenever you come up with your research topic or research project in here. Right? It's just a good question there. Incorrect reporting. Yeah, we can say report just about A, but when you, we can say the result just about A, but when you report about B or C, if you report about A, it might be a conflict of interest. It might be harmful to the organization reputation or the fame of or the popular people like superstar or any people here, then you may not say something about this one. So that part is just like about the way that you just report something wrong from the reality. Since research need to find out the reality and then solve the problem here. So whenever you find out that part, it might be killed, it might be destroy the true or the thing. And so about researcher must be more ethical consideration regarding to that part. Yeah, you are in the middle researcher, not row to side A or side B in here, just in the middle. Okay, inappropriate use of the information. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, yes, use that information to attack any people, yeah, or use the information to create any chemical substance that really again to the humankind, or use that part to produce the like the weapon that might be harmful to the world. Yeah, so the part also is not the thing that the researcher can do in here, right? So need to be careful. We can say all the same. Any question here before we move? The previous slide we can discuss about the participant. This slide we can discuss about the ethical issue for the researcher themselves. You can see like avoiding from bias, okay, avoiding from using some treatment that is not appropriate, or using the methodology that is not really appropriate for your study, okay, reporting something wrong with that part, and using the information in the wrong way, for example, right? Yeah, so all of the things that researcher need to avoid. Yeah. Okay. Any question before we move?
Teacher, I have one question.
Yeah.
How could we know that it is not appropriate, teacher?
We can say like make sure that the thing that we have done so far is not biased, is not we can say like not harmful to other part. For example, like the result from the research, it can be something that can save people life or can save the world problem in here, for example. But if the finding just using to again the human kind or the again the nature, so the part is just the inappropriate finding or the way that we just use it not in the right way there. You know what I mean? So yes, something with kindness, something with love and compassion or passion in here that are really important for researcher. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So make sure that whatever you do, not biased, we can say like not protecting because they are your company, they are your a friend company, for example. So that's why you cannot report something with the true in here, for example. So that part is just something that is not, it's just inappropriate for researcher ethical issue in here or ethical consideration for that part. So yeah, we can say like whatever they are doing opposite with the 5 point here or something that is the negative way of this 5 point, it shows that it's just something that is not appropriate for the researcher to do in here. You got what I mean? Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you so much, teacher.
Because like when you do research, you need to write down it as well. Okay. So what are the right or freedom for the participant to get involved in your study? Yeah, if for example, like at first they agreed to have the interview with you about the effectiveness of principal leadership. But when you ask a question, for example, like have you ever noticed your principal committed corruption? Yeah. So the question really sensitive in here, for example, right? So they may ask, I will not answer the question, and I would like to stop involving in this interview by this point. Yeah. So what I have mentioned earlier, I would like to request to delete it, for example, right? So this is the thing that they request. So what should a researcher do? You threaten them, or you just forcing them to involve in that part, for example. So that part is just ethical or unethical issue for the research. Yeah. You got what I mean? So ever we should do it, follow the nature, follow the humankind. Okay, passion and compassion here. So something that is natural. You cannot force anybody to get involved in your study. You cannot force somebody to fill in the questionnaire while they don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, teacher, I got it. So we need to fix many things.
Yeah. So yeah, those things that we need to write down as well, right? Okay, so we can see the ethical issue regarding the sponsoring organization, or we can say like funding body in here. So, okay, restriction imposed by the sponsoring organization. Yeah. So also need to be careful, need to restrict on that part. You can say, so what are the agreement? What are the things that we need to consider to do? We can say, yeah, it can be something that they can guarantee the money will be sponsored for the purpose of the research. And the other part, we can say, the second point here, the misuse of information, for example, like the millionaire company, they hire a researcher to collect the data. Later on, they just use the data for what? For hacking or stealing some information. Yeah, for example, like later on they just hack for their money from the bank. For example, like they got some information about their money in the bank and so on, and then they try to hack those things and take some advantages from that activity. Yeah. So this is really important. We can say, yeah, important for the organization need to have some ethical consideration that they also need to be careful, just avoiding from being utilizing in here. Yeah, do something in the moral way or the ethical way. The other ethical issue regarding the sponsoring organization is the way that we can consider, right? We also need to consider about that part. We can say it's just something that we need to respect to just some guideline or some limitation of that part as well. And the way that the data is used also need to be careful, right? We also check. Yeah, we can say like not been because of the researcher have the contracted with the organization, and not the thing that the organization is responsible for that. So use the data or information that got it from the study in the wrong way or inappropriate way in here. We can say like something that really unethical issue that to be avoided. We can say, right? Yeah. So need to be mentioned on the path, on the thing carefully. Yeah, you can say, right? Okay, let's move and we can discuss a bit later if you still have some question or some concern with that. So ethical issue in collecting data from secondary data. We can say like for data collection, yeah, like what we have studied last time, like from Wichita group presentation, it's just about primary data and secondary data that you have to collect. We can say yes, some research study, the nature of research study, some they do not work with the people or any participant, but they keep working with the document only, like we can say like the review, or the other part they call like synthesis research, like just keep reading all of the collected document, and then they need to summarize or paraphrase, and they need to synthesize by coming up with some conclusion, okay, and recommendation based on with the finding, with the recommendation from what they have synthesized from different research paper. Okay, and then they come up with the finding and the recommendation for like the implication study there. So this part is just something about the part. In case that for the researcher, they use only the secondary data, like just reading the article, reading the textbook or research article in here. So yeah, they need to come up with this ethical issue in mind, that just avoiding from plagiarism, not just copy and paste, copy the other idea without giving acknowledgement, yeah, like not include their name in that part. Okay, yeah. So I hope that you can understand about the word plagiarism, right? Just copy other intellectual property to be their own without acknowledgement, without giving credit or discredit. This idea is from John 2019, for example. So yeah, those things mean you just plagiarize other idea, okay, in your document in here or in your study in here, right? Yeah, informed consent. Yeah, it can be, yeah, in case that you just collect that thing to be reviewed and or any part that you need to use the document for example, like translation. Some researchers about translation as well. So before you can translate the document from English to Khmer, you need to have informed consent to the writer to request them to translate their article or their research into your language in here, for example, right? So need to have some consent, informed consent in here. Okay, other part, just avoiding from mispresentation of data. You make sure that you can understand, you can present the data effectively and correctly. Yeah, you can see that's why if you do with that, you need to read a lot of document. You need to read more things. You can see. This part I should go back to this one a little bit. We can see like this part not mean only for the volunteer work with the document, even in the your research, some part this secondary data, it might be included in your chapter 2, like literature study as well, right? Yeah, also need the secondary data in your study. Yeah, but some part you may conduct it with the review literature and also the collected primary data from the participant classroom observation, interview, and so on, right? So those things. Yeah, so those things anyway need to be careful you can see like the same thing need to be avoid, right? To be avoid for that part. Okay, misinterpretation of data. Yeah, so read and understand the data carefully, okay, before interpreting. Disclosing data sources. Yeah, we can say, yeah, need to find out the source, okay, carefully, use it appropriately, right? Those part that we can say like some part we can say like you can cite some idea from the research article and by putting like as cited in, but normally we can say like you cannot use like that one very often. Maybe 1 or 2 times it's fine, but very often it is impossible here. So you need to go and find the original writer, original document, and then just put like as cited in. For example, I just cite John 2019 ID in my paper, but when you just read my paper, my journal or my research report, you may see that I did really good with your research, and then you just cite John 2019 there to include in your study. So in that part, for once or two, it's fine. But if you just cite very often, this part we can say it's not acceptable for that part. So you need to find the original source that written by John 2019 there. Find the original article instead of cited in here. Can mean you cite from my paper, not cite from their paper, the original paper there, right? Need to be careful. Okay, one last is about using data collected by convert min. Yeah, we can say just need to check and use it carefully. Like we can say the way that you just collect the data there can need to be legally and appropriately. It not mean you just use some shortcut to get the data in here. All right. So yeah, you can see, for example, like avoiding from let the target participant to use that part. Yeah, you may just go and ask any group of people that not your target to take the data again, and you just say that okay, you just get it from the targeted data, right? Or this part we can see you just collected the data, but it's not something real or from the original data that you just got it from any research article there, but you just try to cut and paste it for any purpose in here. Just because you are lazy to read other article, just go and find a way to convert the data to be your own in here. Okay, so all of these things that the way that you just review the document, okay, and you must come up with all of this ethical consideration in mind to avoid something unethical, something is not appropriate, okay, as a researcher. So it's really important for the researcher. You must be loyalty toward that part. Yeah. You are not going to pro any side, and you are going to being biased from one side to the other one, but you must stand in the middle. Even though your finding just want to solve a problem that you don't like, but make sure that you are in the middle. You can say don't just go and pro the teacher regarding to the school principal leadership style, and you also hate that school principal. That's why we can say like the result finding is in like leading to pro or to show that you just support the idea of the teacher. Okay, because of the principle like that, that's why the teacher answered like this, like that, for example. So you need to be careful with some biasness that happen in your study in here. Okay, so some part here, but all this one you can say like work with the secondary data. But, you also need to consider that part. So you can see this part. It's just like the summary of that part. We can say, so conducting research require considering ethical issue. Yeah, normally you put in a chapter 3, like the methodology chapter, that you also need to explain, okay, how can you inform the participant, okay, before requesting them to participate in your study, and what should they do if they don't want to get involved later on, for example, right? So all of those things that really need to explain, whether you have explained them clearly about the objective and the purpose of the study, and what are the things that you have to do with the data after you got from their involvement. For example, like survey, after they fill the survey, what are the benefit for that part? Yeah, even though they cannot get any gift from you, but what are the impact that they can contribute in here? You can see like at least what they contribute can help you as a researcher to graduate for your from your master degree, for example. And what are beside that? If the study about the effectiveness of our leadership style or the school principle, yeah, it might be some contribution to other school principle to be followed. And the teacher need to see how effective or what are the challenges that they also face in their school, for example. So those things are the benefit, or we can say like all those things we can use it as the significant of the study as well. Yeah, but also need to inform them to understand it clearly. If not so, we can say if you do not mention this thing in the consent form, the participant may not answer the true answer, not going to provide you the true answer for your study in here. Since what? They don't trust you. They worried about their safety. Yeah, even job security as well as their personal safety in here. So they may not answer or provide you the real answer. They may say, oh, it's fine. I don't have any matter with the school leadership, for example. But if you explain them, okay, the study will use for particular purpose, and your identity may not be shown or may not be identified in the study. Okay, and this interview, okay, require you to record, and as it finished, it will be destroyed or deleted. Okay, to be safe and sound. No one can identify who you are in the study, and okay, when in the report, okay, as a researcher, you will not use their name, but just use only the next name or invented name that given by the researcher, yeah, to avoid being identified or providing the code number rather than just say Mr. A, Mr. B, but by using teacher 01, 02, for example. So those things that can let them trust and provide you some real answer or true answer to what that part. So researchers have to adhere to a code of conduct developed by professional practice. Yeah, you can say, yeah, researcher, you need to have your professional ethic. Yeah, that you tell them the truth. We can say, just respect their decision making. Okay, if they don't want to get involved or they do not allow you to record the voice, you cannot do that. We can say to respect. Yeah, do not record or do something that is opposite from their agreement. Yeah, they respect their decision making. even those like they decided to get involved, but later on they find out that question really sensitive and they don't want. So yeah, you cannot force them on. Why promise and then you change your mind or just broke your promise. You cannot say that. Cannot force them to do the thing. Whenever they do not happy, they do not volunteer to join. I mean, you cannot get the right answer, the real answer there. Yes, they may agree to get involved, but they may not give you the true answer. Yeah, that's why this part, as a researcher, should never force anybody to get involved in your study. All right. Okay. It's not so we can say your data and your finding may not contribute to anything. I mean, their participation is just nothing for them. Okay, so point number 3, ethical issue relate to participant, researcher, and sponsoring organization involved in the research study. You can see, yeah, whenever you can write down about your ethical issue, you can consider for 3 different stakeholders in here. It can be the participant itself, the researcher itself. What should the researcher do? Yeah. Okay. Even in interviewing data collection, even from the primary or even secondary sources, what should the researcher do in here? And what should the sponsoring organization? Yes, in some organization they just have the money, but they do not do the research by themselves, but they will sponsor you some budget to conduct research. All right. So, yeah, what are the ethical that you can consider? What are the limitations of the data usage? Yeah, we can say like at least this part also have some agreement with the researcher what should do and what should not do after the data gathering. Yeah, they must consensus in here. We can say like the researcher some part they just like direct contact with the participant, but organization they are indirect, but they are going to use the information from the study for any purpose as well. So need to have some common and understandable ethical issue together in here. Okay, one last we can say ethical issue need to be addressed in this process of to prevent harm. We can say, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it normally just including in chapter 3. Yeah, just one section that just about research ethical consideration there that need to mention and show other researcher or reader regarding to that part, even the participant that you have some principle to consent or to inform the participant clearly that that part will not harm them, will not show something that is unethical for the researcher in here. All right. So in short one, we can say just some part here. Just remember that there are 3 main category of stakeholder. You can say the participant that you need to think about their safety, inform them to understand. It's not so you may not be able to get the real answer, the true answer from them. The researcher themselves need to you can say like to help to stand firm on the integrity and ethics, and we can say like this, no one will may come and audit or check your work in here, but you must have your own integrity. You can say like no one for checking or observing you, but you also keep doing the right thing in here. You can say to be honest, yeah, and stand firm to the ethic. Researcher ethic in here that really important there. Yeah, and one last is about organization that also in case that you have sponsor also need to negotiate and discuss, even sign, read the contract carefully before agree to do that part. We can say, yeah, they also need to stand on the sponsoring organization is six. That yeah, make sure that they are not going to use the information or the study to harm the world or even the humankind. We can say, right? So those things that we need to do. Okay, so in short one, this part, okay, just one section in chapter 3, but it also quite important. Yeah, really important for your research report here. All right. So, any question, anything you want to discuss? Come on.
កន្លែង conduct sorry conclusion កន្លែងចំណុចចុងក្រោយហ្នឹងលោកគ្រូចង់និយាយអំពីអ្វីដែលថាយើង ethical issue need to be addressed in the research process to prevent harm ហ្នឹងមានន័យថាយើងគឺត្រូវ address អ្នកដែលយើងយកព័ត៌មានពីគាត់ហ្នឹងមកប៉ុន្តែយើងលក្ខណៈថាដាក់ឈ្មោះផ្សេងពីឈ្មោះពិតគាត់មែនណាចាកន្លែងហ្នឹងចង់មានអីអញ្ចឹងគឺថាមិនអត់បើកសំឡេងផងអត់លើ
Yeah អាហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងឯងគឺបានថាយើងមិនថាយើងត្រូវ address វាមិនថាតកតងនឹងការដែលយើងសរសេរទាំងប្រមាណហ្នឹងទៅមិនតែលក្ខខណ្ឌតែ participant នេះមិនតែលក្ខខណ្ឌតែយើងបានធ្វើវាប្រកាសថាយើងបានធ្វើវាយើងមាន consent form យើងបាន inform គាត់យើងបានប្រាប់គាត់ពីគោលបំណងនៃការប្រមូលទិន្នន័យហ្នឹងបាទទិន្នន័យយកទៅធ្វើអីគាត់ត្រូវដឹងដែរបើយើងអត់ប្រាប់គាត់មុនគាត់ឆ្លើយគាត់ឆ្ងល់គាត់ថាមិនដឹងយកទិន្នន័យធ្វើអីខ្លះផងហើយពេលខ្ញុំឆ្លើយហើយធ្វើម៉េចតិចយករូបថតខ្ញុំទៅផុសលើ Facebook page ឬក៏ដាក់នៅលើ report ហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងយើងត្រូវតែបង្ហាញពីគោលការណ៍នឹងច្បាស់លាស់ហើយយើងធ្វើបែបម៉េចខ្លះហើយយើងបញ្ជាក់ថា researcher អ្នកចូលរួមហ្នឹងគាត់ពិតជាមានទំនុកចិត្តในការចូលរួមហើយព័ត៌មានយើងទទួលបានពិតជាចម្លើយពិតសម្រាប់ហ្នឹងណាអញ្ចឹងក្នុង clear ចុងក្រោយបានថាពេលដែលយើង mention ហ្នឹងវាជា principle ដែលបញ្ជាក់ថាយើងថាមិនបានន័យថាយើងសរសេរយើងអត់ធ្វើយើងសរសេរយើងអនុវត្តតាមហ្នឹងជំហាន1 2 3យ៉ាងណាចឹងយើងមានប្រាប់គាត់ពីគោលបំណងនៃការចូលរួមនិងការស្រាវជ្រាវនឹងលទ្ធផលនឹងយកធ្វើអីគោលបំណងធ្វើអីបាទហើយតកតងនឹង identity របស់គាត់នឹង confidential កម្រិតណាបាទហើយការបកស្រាយនៅលើ report ហ្នឹងធ្វើបែបម៉េចបាទមានបញ្ចេញឈ្មោះគាត់ឬអត់ចឹងអាហ្នឹងមិនថាវាជាផ្នែកមួយដែលវាជួយឲ្យបាទទាំង report របស់យើងក៏ strong ទាំងសុវត្ថិភាពរបស់អ្នកចូលរួមហ្នឹងក៏មានសុវត្ថិភាពដែលនឹងអត់ទទួលបានផលប៉ះពាល់អីចេញពីហ្នឹងទេមិនថាតើតើនឹង ethical issue នេះគឺយើងផ្ដោតទៅលើក្រមសីលធម៌អ្នកស្រាវជ្រាវថាយើងធ្វើដើម្បីបង្ហាញថាយើងមានក្រមសីលធម៌គ្រប់គ្រាន់យើងមានលក្ខណៈមិនថាតើតើនឹងការបំពេញការងាររបស់យើងហ្នឹងគឺយើងធ្វើដោយប្រុងប្រយ័ត្នមិនថាអ្វីដែលគាត់ចែកនៅទោះបីជា topic ហ្នឹងឬក៏ព័ត៌មានហ្នឹងវា sensitive ក៏វាអត់អាចប៉ះពាល់ដល់ការងាររបស់គាត់ឬក៏សុខភាពតបខ្លួនរបស់គាត់ទេនៅពេលដែលគាត់ឆ្លើយទៀតឥឡូវយើងធ្វើ survey មួយពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងគណៈបកនយោបាយណាមួយទីហោណាបើពេលធ្វើទៅវាមានសំណួរខ្លះវាពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅដល់នឹងអត្ថប្រយោជន៍ឬក៏អីផ្សេងៗដែលវាធ្វើឲ្យមានបញ្ហាប្រឈមទៅលើសន្តិសុខសង្គមឬក៏អីផ្សេងៗហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងជា researcher គឺយើងអត់បង្ហាញឈ្មោះបាទបុគ្គលកបុគ្គលខទេប៉ុន្តែយើងនឹងព្យាយាមថាប្រជាពលរដ្ឋឬក៏ជាទូទៅបណ្ដាប្រជាពលរដ្ឋម្នាក់ឬក៏កម្មករម្នាក់គាត់បានយល់ឃើញថាចំណុចហ្នឹងវាពិតជាខូខើឬក៏ចំណុចហ្នឹងវាពិតជាអក្សរធម៌ឬក៏មានភាពជិះជាន់នៃហោហាទីហោណាបាទជាផ្នែកមួយដែលយើងចង់ identify ថាកន្លែងនេះយើងមានគោលការណ៍ដែលយើងបញ្យល់ទៅគាត់ប៉ុន្តែបើកាលណាយើងបញ្យល់គាត់អត់យល់ហើយគាត់អត់ជឿជាក់លើហ្នឹងក៏តន្ត្រីយើងប្រមូលបានវាអត់មាន បានផលលេខច្រើនក្រៅពីគាត់ឆ្លើយថាខ្ញុំមិនមានបញ្ហាទេឬណាអញ្ចឹងគាត់ឆ្លើយបានហើយចាំហើយអញ្ចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងទី1មិនថាការពីហាមនេះទី1ហាមការចេះហេតុផលឬក៏ផលប៉ះពាល់ទៅលើ report របស់យើងបាទដូចគេនិយាយថាទី1គឺសុខភាពរបស់គាត់ទី2មិនថាលទ្ធផលដែលយើងរកបានហ្នឹងវាអត់សូវមានបញ្ហាទេស្អីដោយសារយើងធ្វើឲ្យគាត់មានទំនុកចិត្តហើយគាត់អាចចូលរួមឆ្លើយដោយចម្លើយចេញពីចិត្តរបស់គាត់ទៅបានទេគ្រូចតា
ចាលោកគ្រូចា
អញ្ចឹងហើយបានគេតម្រូវឲ្យយើងដាក់វានៅក្នុង chapter 3របស់យើងហ្នឹងណាអញ្ចឹងយើងត្រូវរៀបរាប់មកថាយើងធ្វើអ្វីខ្លះទី1ទី2ទី3អញ្ចឹងមកណាអូខេចឹងអានឹងជាការចាំបាច់បើយើងមានអាហ្នឹងក៏អត់ study នេះវាអត់ទទួលបានផលល្អប្រសើរទេអញ្ចឹងណាបាទដោយសម័យមុនយើងធ្លាប់ឃើញឲ្យតែបាទដោយ consent form ខ្ញុំលើក case មួយដូចបងស្រីខ្ញុំអញ្ចឹងកូនរៀននៅសាលាអង្គការមួយនៅខាងនៅស្រុកណាដល់ពេលគេធ្វើសិក្សាពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងសុខភាពកុមារថ្នាក់ទី4បាទទៅនឹងរបបអាហារអញ្ចឹងគេសិក្សាគេមុនសិក្សាគេផ្ញើអា consent form មកជូនឪពុកម្ដាយនេះអានឲ្យសញ្ញាឲ្យគេវិញអញ្ចឹងគាត់មិនគិតថាហ្នឹងវាជារឿងមួយល្អគាត់ភ័យវិញគាត់ថាគាត់សួរខ្ញុំសួរតើគួរឲ្យកូនចូលរួមអត់បាទភាសាគាត់ថាបើកាលណាមានគេឲ្យសញ្ញាគាត់ភ័យខ្លាចថាវាមានបញ្ហាដល់កូនវិញអញ្ចឹងណាអូគេវះកលៀនវះអីយកទៅមើលវិសោធន៍មិនគាត់ភ័យអញ្ចឹងវិញណាគេបាទតែយើងត្រូវតែមានការបញ្យល់ដែរអញ្ចឹងបើគាត់ថាយើងធ្វើ research ជាមួយនឹងអ្នកដែលគាត់មានកម្រិតចំណេះដឹងទៀតត្រូវមានការបកស្រាយបញ្យល់ច្បាស់លាស់រឿងខ្លះយើងធ្វើត្រឹមត្រូវគាត់បែរជាភ័យវិញណាបាទតើតែមកសួរខ្ញុំថាអីទេឲ្យចូលរួមទៅដោយសារហ្នឹងវាជាបែបបទនៃការធ្វើ research អញ្ចឹងគេត្រូវតែមាន consent form គេឲ្យយើងអនុញ្ញាតចូលរួមដោយសារធ្វើជាមួយនឹងកុមារទាមទារឲ្យយើងមានកិច្ចខំធ្វើឲ្យស្រួលព្រោះដោយសារគាត់អត់តន់ចេះសម្រាប់ចិនតខ្លួនអញ្ចឹងទាមទារឲ្យមានការព្រមព្រៀងពីអាណាព្យាបាលបើសិនជាករណីមានផលអីកើតឡើងអានឹងថាមានអ្នកដឹងឮហើយសូម្បីតែការសម្ភាសជាមួយកុមារហ្នឹងក៏គេមានលក្ខខណ្ឌឲ្យយើងធ្វើដែរបើថាមិនអាចទៅសម្ភាសគាត់នៅក្នុងបន្ទប់បិទចិត្តទេបើថារឿងនឹងវា sensitive ត្រូវថាធ្វើម៉េចប្អូនហ្នឹងបើកទ្វារនឹងបើកដើម្បីឲ្យអ្នកខាងក្រៅមើលឃើញអញ្ចឹងឬក៏អាចថាទៅសម្ភាសហ្នឹងត្រូវមានអ្នកចូលរួមម្នាក់ទៀតអីចឹងទៅដើម្បីការពីបាតុភិបណាមួយឬក៏ផលប៉ះពាល់ណាកើតឡើងណាចឹងហ្នឹងបើយើងធ្វើវិស័យពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹងកុមារទាមទារឲ្យយើងមាន consent form ឲ្យច្បាស់លាស់ហើយប្រយ័ត្នទៀតក្នុងហ្នឹងណាបើយើងនិយាយចំបើសូម្បីតែយើងថតរូបកុមារឲ្យយកមកផុសហ្នឹងក៏មានបញ្ហាដែរហើយយើងទៅសាលាយើងឃើញគាត់យើងគួរឲ្យស្រឡាញ់ឬក៏រៀនអីមើលទៅយើងខំប្រឹងរៀនយើងចង់ថតយកមកផុសលើ Facebook ហ្នឹងក៏អត់បានដែរតែប៉ុន្តែត្រូវ inform ទៅ parent របស់គេទៀតដើម្បីយើងអាចប្រើរូបភាពដើម្បីផុសបានមិនមែនតែកុមារសូម្បីរូបយើងផ្សេងហ្នឹងបាទបើកាលណាយើងអត់ inform consent មួយគេមិនទាន់អាចយកមកផុសបានទេទៀតប៉ុន្តែយើងពេលខ្លះឲ្យតែឃើញយើងចាប់អារម្មណ៍ថតផុសអញ្ចឹងណាតែបើយើងប្រើផ្លូវការយើងត្រូវសុំសិទ្ធិគេសិន Can I use your photo on social media or for some advertising អូខេបាទនេះជាចំណុចមួយហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងសង្ឃឹមថាអាចឆ្លើយសំណួររបស់លោកវិជ្ជតាបាន Yes
ចាលោកគ្រូខ្ញុំទទួលបានច្រើនលោកគ្រូហ្នឹងបាទអរគុណច្រើន
បាទវាតិចតួចតែក៏វាសំខាន់ជាបេះដូងមួយនៃលទ្ធផលនិយាយថាបើសិនជាគាត់មានទំនុកចិត្តគាត់ជឿជាក់គាត់នឹងផ្ដល់ចម្លើយពិតតែបើគាត់ជឿជាក់យើងអត់បានបង្ហាញនឹងច្បាស់លាស់គាត់នឹងចូលរួមដែរប៉ុន្តែឆ្លើយចម្លើយនេះអត់ចំគោលដៅយើងចង់បានបាទអញ្ចឹងលទ្ធផលតែទី1គឺវានឹងមានផលប៉ះពាល់ដល់សុខភាពរបស់គាត់ទី2អាចថា លទ្ធផលដែលយើងទទួលបាននៅក្នុង paper ហ្នឹងវាអត់ strong ទេវាអត់បង្ហាញពីផលជះនឹងល្អសម្រាប់ការសិក្សាស្រាវជ្រាវនឹងទេអញ្ចឹងណាបាទ Okay,អ្នកផ្សេងទៀត any other question? It's fine. In case that you are not sure, you can ask in Khmer. Just in research, it really technical in here, you can see, right? Okay, you can discuss in Khmer or discuss in English, it's fine.
Teacher, naពេល6នាទីទៀត
Yeah, we can keep talking.
Will we have another I mean that we will have one more section?
If possible, we can come back if you have something to discuss. But I'm not going to move to the new topic today. Yeah, we can
Yeah,
discuss.
teacher. Yeah, in this one. This
Yeah,
one for better.
we don't want to add more topic here. Okay, we can say like you may come up with some question that why it's just like something about we just got somewhere in chapter 9 or chapter 10, but now why chapter 13 and 14? Like last week we just come up with chapter 13 and this week chapter 15. Yes, in the schedule, and we just want everyone to come up with some idea to complete your concept note as well. So that's fine. Okay, we can say while you are working on other chapter, I also keep working on other chapter. And I do not recover the chapter that will be responsible by the group presentation here. And that's why I just moved to chapter 13 and 14 today. And next week we will move to chapter 15. Yeah, while group presentation, okay, maybe group Mr. Rati and Mr. Chandit can do presentation next week, I think. Yeah. So something there. Okay, so any other question about research basic consideration in here?
Teacher បើយើងគិតឲ្យវែងទៅតកតឹងនឹងការចោះទៅយកទិន្នន័យហ្នឹងបើសិនជាយើងអត់លក្ខណៈថាការតំណែងយើងអត់ល្អកន្លែងហ្នឹងពេលខ្លះក៏រៀងពិបាកដែរមែនអត់ Teacher?
Yeah.
ចឹងគេអត់ចូលជាមួយគេយើងទេ
Yeah, sure. Okay. ឬគាត់ចូលហើយគាត់ចូលទាំងឆ្លើយចុងមាត់ចុងកគាត់ទុកចិត្តណាបាទខ្ញុំធ្លាប់ឃើញមិនឃើញដូចជាmarketing research បាទអញ្ចឹងគាត់ដើរទៅសម្ភាសពុកម្ដាយសម្ភាសជីវករជាងធ្វើកណ្ដាលខ្ញុំកំពុងធ្លាយម៉ូតូប៉ះម៉ូតូហើយគាត់មកសុំសម្ភាសអ្នកប៉ះម៉ូតូគាត់សួរថាមកពីខាងណាមកសម្ភាសខ្ញុំហ្នឹងទៅណីទៅណាទៅយកទៅដាក់គណៈបកណាដាក់ខ្ញុំអីណាហូហែនេះគាត់គិតដល់រឿងហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងគាត់អត់សូវចូលរួមទេបាទហើយនៅដោយសារចំណុចខ្លះវាសំណួរវាពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹង personal data នឹងច្រើនទៅធ្វើឲ្យគាត់អត់ទុកចិត្តអញ្ចឹងបើតាក់ទងនឹងសំណួរ sensitive ឬក៏ personal data នឹងច្រើនទាមទារយើងមានការបញ្ចូលគាត់ដោយជួយចិត្តដាក់ដែរតាក់ទងនឹងចំណុចហ្នឹងណាបាទហ្នឹងដែលជាផ្នែកមួយមិនថាតលយើងមានតំណែងល្អមួយគាត់ធ្វើឲ្យគាត់ជឿទុកចិត្តយើងទៅគាត់អាចផ្ដល់ព័ត៌មានឲ្យយើងបានខ្មោះក្បាយអាហ្នឹងដែលជាផ្នែកមួយតែបច្ចុប្បន្នវាអត់សូវពិបាកដូចមុនទេសារលើ research ហ្នឹងគេធ្វើយើងច្រើនគួរសមទៅអញ្ចឹងអ្នកចូលរួមគាត់ open ណាបាទបើមុនអត់ទេអត់សូវមានអ្នកចូលរួមទេអញ្ចឹងហ្នឹងជាផ្នែកមួយដែលយើងគួរតែយកចិត្តទុកដាក់ហើយបើវាជាផ្នែកទូចមួយនៅក្នុង research paper របស់យើងឯងការសរសេរអាចធ្វើមួយ paragraph ឬក៏2 paragraph ប៉ុណ្ណឹងឯងប៉ុន្តែវិសាលភាពរបស់វាទលំទលាយសម្រាប់ការប្រមូលទិន្នន័យនេះបាទតើតើនឹង research ethical ឬក៏ethical issue នេះវាជារឿងមួយដែលចាំបាច់មែនទែនចឹងគុណភាពរបស់ទិន្នន័យទទួលបានគឺវាអាស្រ័យទៅលើចំណុចហ្នឹងបាទ cùng còn là từ xe đắt hay ở phư chúng xe hết thì anh vào tam nên mà thầy send info to confirm confirm đó inform and confirm và hãy phải check qua tháng nữa bây giờ có vô thà vì ởสวัสดิภาพก็ convenience แบบว่าก็ ID check บางกลุ่มไปนะนะก็ถ้าเราบอกว่าถ้าก็โชว์รูมแต่เราไปก็ staff สนุยtới mới tới sensitive tới có thấy nhóm xong chụp tầm đó ấy và những xong bắt đầu chặt ăn showroom nó có chỉ sật vào qua đây còn ai chụp group đó và hay dương đi xây chắc dương ai không có thì có đại công việc qua đấy mấy cần dây đòn trên đòn chó trên con những cá trò trà thì mình làm còn ăn showroom các đợt quanh chất còn ai chụp vào chứ dương ai từ đó participant xây tiền chẳng ấy tại vì cái này thay dương limited nói dương ai từ xây nó nó chỉ limitation mùi là và không participant và mình nè không chừng nào làm nè thì có đi check out showroom là sao mua lại một bị vậy và chẳng hết từ tận đấy thì bạn là buồn nhẹ như thế và cái này dừng thuật bán không research dừng thời đại viên được nó limitation mà dừng nhé tạo tranh cái xu gì chẳng dừng thời đại viên được nó limitation và vậy dừng lại thứ bán vì chỉ limitation và tranh limitation chỉ do cả bia mùi nhé. Ok, chẳng dươngនឹង discuss នៅក្នុង session ក្រោយបាទ mà sử dụng việc chọc